Yeah. Also very important to look at the health of the company. So we talk about quality of the company. Some people like to call it safety. Also, you want to look at consistent history. So you're looking at profitability, and we talk about the health of the company. We look at things like on the balance sheet. So it's very important to look at it. So people like to look at the top line. If the company is growing its earnings more than inflation, that will be reflected in the company share price. Because investors like to buy into companies that are making money. So that's what we refer to as the top line, growing its revenue more than inflation. Also, it's important to look at what we call the bottom line. And one of the criteria you can look at is a thing called profit margin. This is the difference between the revenue and the expenses, what we call profit margin. You want to see how the company is growing its revenue as well as controlling its costs. Okay, and that's where we talk about expanding margins. So anything above 5% plus, ideally 10%, that's a very, very good company you're looking at. Okay, they've got some fat to work with, and they can compete against their competitors. Okay. Also very important when I say look at the health of the company, it's very important to look at the debt. So this is where you look at the balance sheet. Obviously, the more debt the company might have, the more volatile the company's share price might be. Obviously, because more income would be going to paying interest and its debt payments. So it's important also to compare this company now that you're looking at to its peers. Are they borrowing an unusual amount of money compared to the industry and compared to the size of its company? Okay, so this is how you start sifting through the shares in your watch list. Also, I like to look at companies that are paying out dividends. Remember, it's not only just a source of regular income, it's also a sign that the company is in good financial health. So you want to look at the dividend history of the company. Is it increasing its dividends or not? Okay, so those are just some of the criteria that you can use to sift through your watch list to find the potential winners. Okay, if I use this analogy quite often, imagine you had a magic wand. What kind of shares would you like to invest in? You get a wave your magic wand. I look at three criteria very broadly. I like to buy into companies that are undervalued, that are profitable, and have manageable risk. So here's very simple criteria. The average of the market is about 18 at the moment. That's based on the PE ratio. So any company trading on a PE ratio less than the average of the market, that's the kind of company you're looking at. And I mentioned just now, a PEG ratio below 75, we consider also undervalued. We talk about profitability. We spoke about operating margins just now, or profit margins. Another criteria you'd like to look at, return on equity. This gives you an idea of sustainability of the company's earnings. So I like to look at companies that are growing its return on equity at least 15% plus. Remember, it's consistent and sustainable. You don't want to see companies, 1 year it's 50%, next year it's 10%, next year it's 30%. I'm looking at consistently growing its return on equity because that will be reflected in the share price. The share price steadily going up. When it comes to risk management, we spoke about debt equity just now. I prefer to look at a thing called interest cover. It's how many times we can pay the interest bill out of earnings. And for a large cap company, we like to look at an earnings cover of 3 times. Yeah, as long as I can cover the interest bill 3 times out of earnings, we say it's manageable. For a small cap company, you might look at 5 times interest cover. Okay. On our website, we have a thing called the value filter. Based on those 3 criteria I just said now, we'll spit out a list of shares for you. You can see the PEG ratio, the first little column colored in here. I mentioned just now that most of the market is fairly valued, but this list of shares shows you these shares are still undervalued based on PEG criteria. These are companies growing its return on equity more than 15%, and there's your interest cover. Okay, so these are the shares that meet that criteria. So these are the kind of shares I'll put into my watch list now, and from there, go do further investigation. When I say do further investigation, you click on the share code. In this example, takes you to what we call the share info page. And from the share info page, I can read out more about the company. So this is your first starting point. Here's Wilson Bailey, we spoke about just this now. This is a one-pager written by our research department. They actually give a whole spiel about the company. There's a table compared to its previous reporting period. But this year, they give it a buy long term. And then you'll see on the recommendation why. So you can compare your analysis to our research department. It's a starting point. The best source of information for you as an investor is to actually get hold of the company's financials, go to the company's website, and download the PDF version of the company, and you go do your own analysis. Okay, so this is how you start selecting a share to buy. Okay, what not to do when buying a share. I mentioned just now, do not buy a share or price alone. Understand why a share has fallen. Okay, there's a lot of examples on the market. Let's use African Bank, for example. Obviously, investors don't like what's happening with the company, and that's why they're selling off the shares. You need to understand what will make a share turn around, what will make a share rebound. Those are the kind of things you want to look into. Okay, so don't just buy it alone because the share price has fallen. You think the share's cheap on price. Okay, it was 10 Rand, or its shares traded at 10 Rand, it was once upon a time at 40 Rand. Don't just go on price alone. Do some background investigation. Second, obviously, I just mentioned that you don't want to look at just at the analyst recommendations. Sometimes they are more biased towards buy ratings, but it's also very important to look at sell ratings. When an analyst gives out a sell rating, a red flag should go up. This should be an early warning. So be aware of those kind of things. Okay, keep your eyes open. Okay, remember, you use it. Don't just go blindly on analyst recommendations, but you compare it to your analysis to give you that confirmation as such. Don't be surprised by the volatility of a share. Remember I mentioned just now, an individual share can be more volatile than an ETF, like a Satrix. Okay, so you'll look at historically, and this is where the charts come in handy. Look at the 52-week, the highs the share traded in the last year, and where the shares traded the lowest for over the last year. That gives you the range, and you can also see how wild those swings are. Okay. A lot of the shares now are breaking up above their 52-week highs, and those are opportunities also. So go look at historical price data just to see, give you a bit of perspective as such. But also very important, obviously from an investment point of view, you remember the strategy is a buy and hold strategy. You don't want to be in a situation where you want to sell for the wrong reasons, okay? But you also want to avoid panic selling because of the short-term moves in the market. I believe you document the criteria, document the reason for buying the share. If I buy into a share, my original decision has changed. For example, use the example of Cecil. I buy into the company because I believe it's an intellectual property company, not only an oil company, but I buy into it and suddenly Cecil changes their business model. They instead of being involved in oil and that kind of stuff, they started to sell cell phones. I'm using an example. So my original decision to buy that share has changed. I might consider selling the share. Or I might consider selling the share because it becomes overvalued based on our value criteria. On our value investor, it becomes overvalued, and then I might put a 20% stop loss. If it drops 20% from there, I'll get out. Yeah, a company might cut its dividend, and this might be a new trend. It might stop paying out dividends because it's conserving cash. That might be an early warning that the company's in trouble. I might consider the company selling the company then. Well, analysts downgrade. They also foresee that the trend for this company in the next few years is dismal. Whatever the case might be, you want to get out. Or the company is just forced to a certain level, you decide to get out. Obviously, technical trading is different to what we call investing. Trading, you're looking at more support and resistance levels and triggering stop loss. This is more pertinent for an investor. Okay.